Hello and welcome back to Hobby Vomit. My name is Ian and I'm excited to have you back for another one. So in this video, we're going to be doing our second episode of This Bard Goes Hard, which is our playthrough of MightyGlomp's D&D campaign submission to VillainTheory's unofficial campaign contest. Now, MightyGlomp with the D&D campaign submission was one of the 5 announced contest winners. So a big congratulations to MightyGlomp as well as the other 4 contest winners. If you'd like to learn more about VillainTheory's unofficial campaign, please do see his announcement video as well as the announcement of the 5 campaign contest winners and honorable mentions. You'll also find the Google Drive link there to all 37 submissions. And I want to give a big thank you to everyone who submitted a campaign. You've given us so much more Marvel Champions content to play, and I am personally excited to get to play through all of it. It has, of course, been a goal of mine with the Marvel Champions content that we put on this channel. I would say that it is a channel goal to be able to highlight community-made content, specifically things like custom villains and custom heroes. Now, the rules for the unofficial campaign contest were that there would be no custom content, at least not for the campaign. The idea is that you could print out everything. This is also my first series kind of doing this on my own with the physical cards and setup. I'm trying to make improvements as I go, but as I'm easing into this process, it does help to just focus on using official content that I know. And so the community contribution that we're highlighting here is going to be MightyGlomp's D&D campaign. In the future, though, you will see custom villains and custom heroes featured on the channel, and I hope that what we're working towards here will also help that to be a more seamless experience and to help you get more familiar with the awesome work that these content creators are putting together for us, or these custom content creators, right? So it's going to be really, really cool, and I'm excited to see what we're able to do with the Marvel Champions content that's featured on this channel. But I could talk forever, so let's go ahead and actually get right into it because I know the gameplay is what you all are waiting for. So the last thing I just want to go ahead and say is that if you do want to see what we're doing with this campaign and specifically what we're doing with this deck, please do check out the first video of This Bard Goes Hard. That's where I break it all down. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about what's in our deck for this video. So with all of that out of the way, let's go ahead and jump over to the campaign instructions. So let's see here. The campaign instructions are right here. So let's go ahead and look at the victory instructions from the last scenario. It says to record the total number of remaining minions and side schemes in play in the campaign log. Now, we're not going to be maintaining a campaign log. That's effectively what the videos are for, or at least the videos are doing that for us. And if I remember correctly, and I did look back at the first video, we had 1 side scheme and 1 minion, so we would record that as a 2. Now, as we proceed in the second scenario, we can see we are the adventurers. Pink here, we're kind of busting into this castle, and we can see the castle is sort of teeming with undead. There are undead skeletons patrolling all around, and we're making our way through the castle, going door to door, avoiding skeletons as we go. But our presence is known by the arch villain who has now commanded his general to seek us out. And so we've got scenario 2, Lord Soth. Having made their way into the castle, first and foremost, it will be important to find and rescue the nobles. The castle is built like a maze, with hallways winding, intertwining, and ending in dead ends. And with the undead guards patrolling around it, it will be difficult to stay hidden from the entire undead legion. Knowing that his castle has been infiltrated by the adventurers, Acererak orders Lord Soth, his most trusted general, to track them down. Now it's up to the adventurers to find the nobles in their cells and evacuate them before they can get caught. So we're going to be playing through Batroc, which of course this is very thematically cool for that. And so we'll be using Batroc and the Batroc main schemes. We are playing on standard, so we'll be using a Batroc A. I do like to play through things on standard for the first time through. And for the encounter deck, we'll be using Batroc, Legions of Hell, Horror, and Standard 1. So I'm very excited for the Legions of Hell and Horror combination. Makes for a very fun, spooky, and undead castle. For the campaign instructions, it says to put the Mojo Files environment. That is the environment from the Horror modular set. We're putting that into play. We place a threat on the alert level environment. That's from the Batroc set, and we're going to be placing 2 because it should be the number of minions and side schemes that we recorded. We are going to search the encounter deck for a minion and put that minion into play, engage with us. And the rest of this is for expert. Okay. So with that, let's go ahead and jump over to the desk setup. I hope that you guys like this. I'm making incremental improvements to our setup over here. It looks like the camera is maybe getting a little bit further away, or sorry, getting a little bit closer. So let's go ahead and readjust here. Nice. I'm going to put our hand down. Very nice. So yeah, so we've got some setup over here to kind of frame the villains. We've got Batroc on side A, the main scheme, infiltrate, aim, island, assembly, which in this case is like infiltrate the castle. We have our alert level and the mojo files. Batroc is quite interesting as a villain. So he has this mechanic where he only has 8 hit points, but if you were to defeat him, you actually remove 6 threat from the main scheme and then reset his hit points. So you technically don't defeat him, because it's if he would be defeated, you reset him. So he can't actually be defeated. Whenever he attacks, we also place 1 threat on the alert level. Now, the alert level environment, we got to be very careful with this. If there's ever 4 threat on this card, then we have to flip it. And it says after a character is defeated, except by consequential, we place 1 threat here. So that means like if we chump block with allies, then we'd have to place threat here. This also means that if we defeat minions, we have to place threat here. So it kind of is like us making a ruckus. We do have the ability to remove threat by spending resources. And we just have to be careful, because if it does flip, then on this side, we can actually lose the game. And there is no way to flip it back as far as I know. So once it's on the high side, it stays, and then we run the risk of losing the game. So we got to be very, very careful there. For the main scheme, this just basically tells us to set the rescued captives alive, which are our version of the nobles. So we've got them set aside, and then we put the alert environment into play. Now, if we were on expert, we'd actually be placing 2 threats. So that would have made this really, really difficult, because that means we'd be starting with 4 threat. So it'd flip to the high side. And yeah, we would be in hot water right off the get-go. And so we'll go ahead and put that into play on this side, which basically just says when the last threat is removed from this scheme, then we advance to stage 2A. So the way we advance is by actually getting rid of all of the threat, not by this completing, because if this completes, we actually do lose the game. So this is going to come into play with 6 threat. We've got the buy the same tokens here for the 6 threat and the 2 threat respectively. This right here is not from buy the same token. Theirs are quite expensive. So I went with sort of a knockoff brand. But it's working quite well. And I've got it framed here. These are 3D printed pawns. There's a guy here in Tulsa who 3D prints his own custom chess sets, which is really fun. And a couple of years ago, he hosted a chess tournament where you could buy one of his chess sets and then play in the tournament. And it was like factions. So this was the robot faction. And it was a lot of fun. So I loved I wanted to frame it like this. I just thought it was kind of fun and cool, and I kind of like it. Plus, it actually really helps me. It tilts it for the camera, which is kind of nice, but it actually is a really good angle for me when I'm playing. So I'm enjoying this. You know, and I gotta be honest, this is just held together by duct tape right now. I've got some tubes coming in that actually will be able to form a stand to hold this at an angle. But right now, duct tape is doing all of the work. In addition, we do have a Draugr here. And so I should be able to, I'm still kind of tinkering around with this, but I should be able to start kind of showing some stuff off. So I think this is the Draugr page. Yeah. And so you should see on the video that we're going to have, there we go. I'm getting used to this. Nope. Okay, there we go. We're going to have cards, there we go, that are going to be displayed on the screen. So I will do my best. These are cards that are shown from Marvel CDB. So I can only show you what Marvel CDB actually has. So for example, I do have one here on Batroc, but you'll see that Batroc actually has no image. So like one of the things that we can do, for example, is I can show the text box. So you can actually read the sort of rules text from Batroc. So for some of the newer content, specifically Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. content, we don't have images on Marvel CDB, and that's how I'm able to get the images on the screen. So you're just gonna have to bear with me as we kind of go through that process. I'll go ahead and go back to the Mojo files. This is the other environment that we have in play. And so we'll need to be very careful to remember this environment. Enemy minions gain quick strike, and allies take -1 consequential when attacking enemy minions. So we'll have to be careful to make sure we're keeping up with that. Now, the Draugr here that came into play does have guard. He also has a when revealed effect, but the campaign instructions were to put him into play. So no when revealed effect. And of course, we are playing Thor on the Odinson side, and we did get a buy the same token hero board here. which is it's just quite nice. They did a really, really great job with this. Nice little ready token and slots and everything. So I'm excited to get to play with this. And I think that covers pretty much everything that we need to know on the board. As I said, as kind of things come into play, I will try to include some of that on the screen as best as I can. But maybe not everything. Like certainly, a lot of the cards in my, deck we're probably not going to put up on the screen. I'm hoping that you guys will be familiar with them since they're all official cards. But as things are relevant, like on the board and stuff like that, then we will make sure to get those on the screen so that we're all on the same page as we kind of go through the scenario together. And then also do let me know, if right now this is the right height to be able to get me and all of the cards on the screen. But honestly, if it's just better to have a closer up view, then I can certainly do that. So we can, kind of tinker with what we actually show on the screen, as well as how close the cards are to the camera and things like that. I do have to be a little bit careful because of the lighting that I currently have. There is a glare spot like right here. So we'll be doing our best to kind of avoid that glare spot. Okay, so our deck is shuffled, and then we do have the encounter deck here with everything that we need, including Thor's Obligation. So we'll just give that a few shuffles for the camera, and then we'll go ahead and put that back down. Okay, so unfortunately, in this scenario, we do not have that +1 hand size. We were quite blessed in the first scenario to be able to play with 1 extra card. I am going to miss it. So we've got an Unbreakable, a 4 Asgard, an Infiltration, a Creative Solution, and a Wing It, which is actually really, really neat for us. This is kind of one of our core opening combos here to be able to, for example, do things like confuse the villain, be able to actually make use of those things. Through the creative solution. Now, unfortunately, this isn't the combo that we would love the most. If we were to remove a confuse from ourselves, then we would heal for 3, but we are, starting out at full health, so we don't need to be healing for 3. Also, you'll notice that I do have the hero and villain hit points on the screen, so we can actually maintain those with a keyboard rather than trying to use dials. So hopefully that makes things a little bit better as well. Okay, so in terms of whether or not we keep this hand, this is kind of interesting because of the fact that we do have to be careful with that alert level, but I have the ability right now to go ahead and pitch for Asgard for Infiltration. I also have the opportunity here to use for Asgard to go fetch a card with the Asgard trait. So I could, for example, go fetch Asgard itself to be able to have a +1 hand size, pitch these 3 cards for that. However, we just need to be careful about that alert level. Alternatively, if we flip over to hero form, let's say we do Infiltration and get an enemy into play, then we could draw 2 cards off of that and then remove a significant amount of threat from that scheme. And then be able to do things like, for example, confuse the villain and get rid of our own confusion. Now, the Unshakable would be nice, but not totally necessary. In this particular case, we could pitch these 2, we would draw 2, and then we'd have, let's say, 1 for Mjolnir, because this will replace itself. We'd have 1 for Mjolnir, and then we'd have 2 other resources left over, plus 2 additional cards. So we could, we'll have Mjolnir in play, we could play Unshakable, we could play something else. There's a lot of different options that we could go for here. I think we actually just hold this hand. I don't always hold the hands that I'm given. But I think in this particular case, it's going to be fine. Let's just see how it plays. So let's go ahead here and start off by searching the deck for Mjolnir. There we are. And that's just going to be using our Odinson action to go ahead and find that and add that to our hand. Okay, and then we are going to go ahead and flip up. And we're going to go ahead and start here with an Infiltration. So let's go ahead and pitch for Asgard for Infiltration. So Infiltration says choose a number from 1 to 5. I'm going to choose 5. Discard that many cards from the top of the encounter deck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we didn't whiff. We got an Embassy Guard. And so then it says remove 1 threat from a scheme. So we're going to remove 5 threat from this scheme. For each card, discard this way. Put 1 minion, discard this way into play. Engage with you. And these cards were discarded. So that does mean they go into the discard pile. And then this, of course, goes in the discard pile. Now, a couple things are going to happen. First thing that's going to happen is quick strike. So this embassy guard is going to attack us for 2. So we're going to go ahead and reduce our health by 2 here. And then we've got a response for being in hero form that when we're engaged by a minion, we do go ahead and draw 2 cards, which is going to be our build support as well as a double strength. So double resource icon. Okay, now we do need to be careful with this embassy guard. The embassy guard has a mechanic here where if it's defeated, we place 1 threat on the alert level. Okay, so that means that we'd get 1 from defeating a character, and then we get another 1 from this being defeated. However, it does have vulnerable, okay, which means that if we give it a status, it gets discarded, not defeated. So that's kind of an interesting way we can play around that mechanic, and we do have a way to confuse it. Now, confusion is obviously very strong for characters like Batroc, but this is a great way here that we can just deal with these minions. So we're going to go ahead and play Wing It. We're going to go ahead and deal 1 damage to a character and then confuse that enemy. So that means that this enemy will be discarded, not defeated. We confuse our own character, which is fine. And then we'll go ahead and draw a card. And so we draw Manifold. This is actually really, really awesome because having minions, of course, is very, very strong for us here. Also, I apologize if you guys hear anything outside. I thought the lawn care service for my neighbors was done, but apparently there's even more that they need to do. So they're still going at it. Okay. Okay, so next, I think we do want to make use of this strength as best as we can. So let's go ahead and start off first and foremost with our own creative solution. So we're going to go ahead and draw a card, which is going to be a chance encounter. And then we're going to move a status card from any character. That's going to be from us. We're going to move our confusion. And then if we remove a confusion, we heal 3 from an identity. So that means we're actually going to go back up to 14. Oh, sorry, not back down. We're going to go back up to 14 here. So we're back at full health. And then now I'm going to go ahead and discard the strength and the chance encounter to play Manifold. And then Manifold is going to allow me to search my deck or discard pile. So actually, what might be better here is let's go ahead and trying to think if I want specialized training first or if I want build support first. I think what we do is we discard the build support with the strength for Manifold, so then we can bring the build support back. Because I think build support is actually better for us here than the specialized training, because the build support will give us Asgard, which means that we'd have that +1 hand size. Okay, so then after that, we do have this Draugr. What I think I would like to do here is to go ahead. I think we leave the Draugr in play, and we go ahead and we pitch 1 for build support. So we can go ahead and get that into play. And then I'm going to go ahead. I'm trying to decide whether or not I take the Unshakable. My thought process right now is that we go ahead and we discard Unshakable to pay for the alert level. And then we just go after build support. So we're going to discard Unshakable to reduce the alert level down to 1. This notably has guard, which means I can go ahead and exhaust Manifold to thwart for 2 off of this scheme. He'll take 1 consequential, and then I can exhaust to thwart 1 off that scheme as well. And so this comes in at 3, and so that will be a total of 2 + 1 for 3. We can go ahead and put build support in the victory display, and we can go ahead and search for Asgard, which is a support that costs 3 or less. So there's Asgard. We'll put Asgard into play, and that will give us a +1 hand size as long as that is in play. Go ahead and shuffle the deck here. Okay, and then we're just going to leave Mjolnir in hand since I don't have a good way to confuse him right now, and I don't want to lose Mjolnir. So we'll go ahead now and draw back up. So we've got a hand size of 5, so we're going to go ahead and draw 5. Nice. So we've got a Show Empathy. We've got a Hugin Immunin. We've got a Lightning Strike and another Infiltration. Very, very nice. Let's go ahead and unexhaust. And then we're going to go ahead and go to the villain phase. We're going to place 1 threat on the main. Backtrack is going to activate. I'm just going to take it here. So we're going in. He's going in for 2 + 2. So he's coming in for 4. So we're going to take 4 damage, go down to 10, take 1 damage from the Draugr. We're down to 9. And then we get a bad card. And the bad card is Fallen Warrior. So discard cards at the top of your deck until you discard an ally. I have, every single time I play Thor into this, I always get Sif. So let's see what happens. God of Thunder, don't want to see that. Energy, really don't want to see that. Upside the Head, Skilled Investigator, Thor's Helmet, Superpower Training, Hammer Throw, In Defiance, it's getting all the good ones. Square it off, one way or another. Quake. Okay, so we got Quake this time around. So Quake is going to come into play as a fallen ally. Okay. So it comes and engage and plays with us as a fallen warrior, and it gains the undead trait, but otherwise has a blank text box, and its thwart becomes scheme. Okay, so that is the bad card. So Quake is essentially now a minion for the other side. Now, since that minion does come into play, engage with us, we are going to take 2 damage here from the Quick Strike. And that is, of course, also going to draw us 2 cards off of that response. We got a double upside the head. That is very, very interesting. So now we need to consider what to do next. Because I do have a Hugin and Munin here, and with a Mjolnir in hand, that means I can go after any of these. Hugin can give us 2 more cards, and we can draw. But I also do want to go after Batroc with a double upside the head, or at least 1, because we can confuse him. So we could, for example, pitch Lightning Strike for Mjolnir. We could play 2 cards for Hugin and Munin, which would draw me 2 more. I can use Infiltration and Upside the Head to go ahead and be able to attack Batroc and be able to confuse him, so I can flip down. And then the 2 cards we get off of Hugin and Munin we can use for the alert level. The way that this could go really bad is if Hugin and Munin gets like Kraken or Cultist, because then we'd actually be taking quite a bit of damage. So I think we go ahead and we're going to exhaust Manifold. I kind of want to go after the main scheme here, but if I'm looking at this correctly, so Manifold plus Hugin and Munin takes out Quake, and then Thor into Draugr means that we defeat Draugr, and then I can pay off the alert level. So I think that's the way we want to do this. I'm going to go ahead and put 1 damage on Quake, and then I'm going to go ahead and Order of Operations. We're going to go ahead and discard Show of Empathy for Mjolnir. We're going to put Mjolnir into play, which is going to give us a +1 to our attack stat. And so then we are going to go ahead and exhaust to go ahead and take out Draugr. And that's going to put our alert level up by 1. And then we're going to go ahead and discard Infiltration and Lightning Strike for Hugin and Munin. Hugin and Munin is an aerial Asgard bird that allows us to search the top 10 cards of the encounter deck for a minion and put it into play. And then we get to ready characters based off of the number of boost icons. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So our options are a Draugr with a single boost icon, Embassy Patrol with a single boost icon, Werewolf Pack with 2 boost icons but notably hits for 3, Cultist with a single boost icon, but it does have Quick Strike, so we really don't want to do that one. So I think what we'd probably do here is maybe go for something like... Werewolf Pack has 4 hit points, but he won't get the When Revealed effect. So that's worth noting. If he doesn't get the When Revealed effect, then it is going to be the case that he doesn't get to take a face-down ally. But he does hit us for 3, so we go down to 4, then we're going to flip down, we're going to heal back up to 8, versus being able to heal up to 10 if we take something else. But Embassy Patrol does scheme for 2. I'm not as worried about the main threat here because of the fact that we are only at 2 out of 12 right now, and we are going to be able to confuse Batroc. There's also, if that's only coming in for 1, I mean, we might as well just go for Draugr, right? Because it also only comes in for 1. And we can easily take it out next round as well. The problem with the Draugr, though, is it's got Guard, whereas the Embassy Patrol only has Patrol. So it is a tough decision here. I think I am going to go for Embassy Patrol. I really hate how this is, man. Or do I just get the Werewolf Pack so I never have to deal with it again? Because it would go into the discard pile. It only schemes for 1, which is really nice. It doesn't have Patrol. It doesn't have Guard. It just hits us for 3. So that really hurts in terms of our recovery. But we'll be able to easily take it out next round. 3 + 1 goes ahead and defeats it. We can just continue to pay off the alert level. It only schemes for 1. So it seems like it has all the hallmarks here of the right card. So I think, it's crazy, but let's go for it. we get attacked by a werewolf pack. Okay, so now we're going to shuffle these in because it is a search. This is kind of crazy, but you know, sometimes crazy is what we need to go for. So this has Quick Strike. Quick Strike is going to resolve first. So we are going to go ahead and take 3 damage here. So let's go ahead and take 3 damage. 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to go ahead and draw 2 cards from our response. And then we can resolve the rest of Hugin Immunin, which is basically to go ahead now and to ready 2 characters. So ready Manifold, ready ourselves. And then we actually did pick up a call for a backup, which we probably need to actually make use of. Now that alert level is at 2. So I want to pay it off, but call for backup is really, really strong. Okay. Now to do call for backup, I would lose Manifold. I would not lose Hugin Immunin, but I would take 1 damage. The call for backup would come in. That would get me Lady Sif, which would ready me, so I could actually attack the werewolf pack and take out the werewolf pack. Be able to ready again to heal for 4. I could also heal for 4 and heal for 4 again to go back up to 12 hit points. But if I take out any of these guys, I do take up the alert level. And, I'm not going to be able to heal because I actually need to attack Batroc. I wouldn't be able to heal until next round. Or we just let him scheme because it is just going to be 1 plus a boost. So as soon as we defeat him, we'll take all that off. Which is actually not bad, in all honesty. Man, otherwise I'm holding my hand. So I think schemes for 1, schemes for 1. We could just let them scheme. That's really not that bad either. Discard Infiltration for call for backup. Attack for 3 against Batroc, discarding 1 upside the head for another upside the head to deal 3 damage and confuse him. We'll take him down to 5 and he gets confused. Exhaust Hugin Immunin to take 1 off of call for backup. Exhaust Manifold to take another 2 off of call for backup, which is going to then allow us to go get Lady Sif, who I believe has to be in our deck at this point. There she is. Okay. And then that will allow me to ready Thor. Sorry, ready Thor. I will flip down to Odin's Son and I will exhaust to recover. So we'll increase our hit points by 4. And I do also lose Manifold. But it was to consequential damage, and Hugin Immunin do take 1 consequential. We'll exhaust Lady Sif to deal 2 damage to the werewolf pack, not taking consequential. So that primes both of these to be taken out, and then we can use our resources to get rid of alert level. So I think that's good. So we're going to go ahead and draw up to 6 here, because we do have Asgard in play. And that's going to give us Grapple, nice, Defender of the 9 Realms, Genius, Disguise, Hammer Throw, and the Raft. So this Hammer Throw is actually going to be clutch because it can have Overkill, and then that can mean that we can take a lot of threat off of the main scheme. So let's go ahead and unexhaust, ready everybody up, and go ahead and place 1 threat on the alert level. The villain would like to scheme but cannot because they are confused. We'll go ahead and place 2 more threat on the main scheme. I think I said place threat on the alert level. We're placing threat on the main scheme here. And we're going to bring that up to 5. And then we get a bad card, which is going to be security cameras. When revealed, alter ego. We're in alter ego. That worked out perfectly. Remove 1 threat from alert level. This card gains surge. Okay, nice. That's a positive. And then surge. Vampire. Attacks with piercing deal double damage to vampire. And vampire is going to come into play with quick strike, but we are an alter ego, so that does not matter. Okay. So I think here we want to try to figure out how we can get away with the most damage. So I've got a raft. I also have a hammer throw. And so I could hammer throw right through the vampire, deal another 2 damage to Batroc. And then with my 3, that would actually be enough to defeat Batroc and then get all of the main scheme thwarted down. I currently do have 2+1 to be able to do that. Okay. And I also have a raft, which would be really, really awesome. So that would take care of hammer throw. Now, on top of all of that, I do have grapple, which we would need to play, but would replace itself. Defender of the Nine Realms would get me 2 more cards, which I could use to play raft. If we start defeating a lot of these guys, we are going to place 3 threat on the alert level. So we do need to pay for all of this, which means that I don't think we can pay for raft. I think that we actually need to use those resources to manage the main scheme, as much as I would like to have raft in play. Now, if we do go for defenders, that could be pretty cool because we could actually go ahead and get our first rescued captive, as well as draw 2 additional cards to help us manage that alert level. But it does mean we also do get another minion. They're going to attack us and then attack us again because we don't have really good ways to deal with them right now. Because this is attacking for 3, attacking for 2, attacking for 2. So we do need to take out all of these characters. So I think we can't really go for defenders here. So I think we go ahead and we flip up. I think we go ahead and attack Batroc. Nobody has guard. So we can go ahead and deal 3 damage to Batroc, bring him down to 2. And then I can go ahead and use, not grapple just yet, but then we can go ahead and pitch Genius and pitch Disguise to go ahead and play Hammer Throw. And we're going to Hammer Throw right through this vampire. So Hammer goes through the vampire, crushes him with Overkill. We do need to exhaust Mjolnir, deal 6 damage, defeat this vampire. Place 1 threat on the alert level. This has Overkill. So actually, order of operations here is that we deal 8 damage to an enemy and return Mjolnir to our hand, which happens simultaneously. That enemy is defeated, so this is going to trigger several different things, but the Overkill happens first, dealing 2 damage to Batroc, which immediately triggers his... Oh, sorry, I'm at 8. Immediately triggers his Force Interrupt, so he goes down to 0, and then he goes back up to 8. We take 6 off the main scheme, which actually progresses the main scheme. When the main scheme progresses, we instead get nothing on this side. So going to this side, we've got a Force Interrupt. When the last threat is removed from the scheme, we can put 1 set aside rescued captive ally into play, exhausted. And then the players may advance to stage 3A, or we can add 3 more threat to continue to do this because there are 4 captives. So this will come into play, and it will have 3 threat on it. Okay, oops. Very nice. So Batroc's back at 8. We do have 3 threat on this now. And Mjolnir is back in our hand, and we do have 2 threat on the alert level from the force response from that alert level. Okay, so now we can go ahead and play Grapple. We're going to go ahead and deal 1 damage to Batroc. So he's going to go down to 7 here. He will be stunned, and we will be stunned. And I will go ahead and draw a card, which we drew another Defender of the Nine Realms. And then I'm going to go ahead and pitch 1 and 2 to remove all the threat from the alert level. And then we're going to go ahead and attack with Lady Sif against the Werewolf Pack to defeat the Werewolf Pack, which is going to add 1 more threat. And then we're going to go ahead and attack with Hugin Immune against Quake to defeat Quake, which is going to add 1 more threat. And then we're going to go ahead and pitch Defender of the Nine Realms to bring that threat down to 1. Oh, this is a ready token. I want a stun token. I gave us both ready tokens. That is the exact opposite of stunned. Okay, and I got 1 card in my hand, which is Mjolnir, and we're going to go and put that down. I'm going to go and draw 2, 3, 4, and 5 cards. And we've got Mjolnir, Chance Encounter, Defender of the Nine Realms, Hammer Throw, and Lightning Strike. All great things. And we're going to go ahead and unexhaust everybody here. And let's go ahead and go to the villain phase. So for the villain phase, we're going to add 1 to the main scheme here. Batroc would like to attack, but he is stunned. And then we'll get a bad card, which is going to be Heightened Reflexes. So Batroc is going to get 4 leap counters, and when Batroc would take any amount of damage, we prevent 2 of that damage and remove 1 leap counter. So we'll place that there. We're going to go ahead and put 2 and 2 on that. Oh, that's a physical resource. 2 and 2. Very nice. Okay. Well, I think we are in a good position here to actually deal with minions. So I think this is how we're going to do this. I could be incorrect, but do we have enough resources? If I go for chance encounter for Mjolnir, we don't actually have enough resources for the hammer throw unless we Defender of the Nine Realms first. Okay. Now, if we do Defenders of the Nine Realms first, then I would need to Hugin and Munin to go ahead and thwart that down by 1 so we can actually clear it. This alert level will go up to 2. He'll attack, and it'll go up to 3. I can also just use Lady Sif, but she's got more damage, so I think that's fine. If I do Defender of the Nine Realm, I'll draw 2 cards, so that means that we would spend 1 on Mjolnir, then we would spend Defenders of the Realm, get 2 more cards, spend 3 cards plus Hammer Throw, take out the minion or take out Batroc, and we would ourselves not be able to attack, but between Lady Sif and Hammer Throw, we could take out that minion, go to 2 here. Now, it could be Cultist. If it is Cultist, the Cultist would activate and we get Kraken. The Kraken would activate. We're going to take 3 damage from that, and then we'd only be able to take out 1 of them, but we could take out the Kraken right away, which would then heal. So, well, we'd have to take out the Cultist because the Kraken would actually go first. So it could go poorly here. Alternatively, we just go ahead and take this a little bit more slowly. We could, for example, just throw down the main with the characters I have on board. And then go ahead and get an Exhaustive Captive. And I'll lose Hugin and Munin, but that's not bad. We could still Defenders of the Nine Realm and get 2 captives out, actually. But then, but again, it runs us into some problems. So, yeah, I think we just take this a little bit on the easy side, actually. I think I go ahead here and I think I try to set myself up for a better next round. So the way that we could do that is we could go ahead and pitch Defenders for Mjolnir. We got that +1 attack back. Okay. Then I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm deciding between either thwarting down the main or just going after these lead counters. If he schemes, if I flip down and he schemes, then, and he gets an advance, that would be 3 and 3, so it'd go up by 6. So as long as I have it at like 2 or less, we should be pretty safe. The max we could do is 4 and 4, so at 1, we would be completely safe. Okay. So now I do have this stunned here that I do need to get rid of at some point. And the Unshakables in the deck, we are going to get extra encounter cards. So I'd like to flip down, and healing would also be really, really good. Okay. So I think what we do then is we're going to pitch Chance Encounter to take off the alert level. We are going to leave the stunned. I am going to use Lady Sif and Hugin and Munin to thwart the main down to 1. Munin will be defeated. Hugin and Munin will be defeated. Which is nice because it'll actually cycle them back into our deck. I'm going to flip down. I'm going to exhaust. Okay. And then that's going to go ahead and heal me for 4. So back up to 12. And then we're going to pitch Lightning Strike, holding the Hammer Throw. So now what this basically means is that Batroc will not add to the alert level because he'll be scheming. So this will be at 0. We're going to get 2 encounter cards, but if they're minions, they're not going to hurt us. If it's things like cameras, then it doesn't interact with the alert level. If he schemes twice, he could go 4 and 4, but that would not pop the main. So you have to scheme 3 times, which that would mean he schemes in double advance, which is really, really unlikely. Plus, I think there's actually an advance already in here. There is. So I don't think that can happen. So I think we are safe here. We do have a stunned, but we can knock it off and then hammer throw. And then between hammer throw, I think hammer throw should be enough to deal with our board. And then we can always recover if we need to. So I think we're pretty good here. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. The only thing that we could do different is knock off the stunned, because then that would give us some options for next turn. We could always wreck next turn. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. We could wreck next turn if we see an opportunity, or if we don't see an opportunity, then we just flip up and attack. So it just gives us more options. Because effectively, this stunned means that we're exhausted anyway next turn. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll go ahead and take away that 4, knock off our stunned, and then we'll take our extra encounter card here. shuffle this up. We're going to go to 6 cards here. And that's just going to give us some options. Maybe we wreck, maybe we don't. But having a stunned on Thor effectively is the equivalent of being exhausted. So nice. Okay. Put that there. We're going to draw 2 more cards. If we draw Unshakable, though, that'll be funny. So a Hammer Throw, Specialized Training, God of Thunder, Gambit, Lightning Strike, and another Hugin and Munin, which is absolutely insane. Okay. So the main scheme is going to go to 2 here. Oh, I forgot about it, going up by 1. So obviously if he double schemes at max, then we could lose here, but we'll be fine. So Batroc would like to scheme. So the boost card is a 1. So now we're safe. So this is going to go up by 2. Then we're going to get another bad card, and the bad card is going to be Embassy Guard. So Guard vulnerable, comes into play, has Quick Strike, but that does not matter. And then the next bad card is going to be Cultist. So the Cultist is going to come into play, but again, has Quick Strike, but the Quick Strike does not matter because we're an Alter Ego. We just dodged a major bullet. Like if we had been in hero form, I'm going to move these over to, let's move it like this. And then move these guys here. There we go. If we had been in hero form, we would have taken 2, 3, then the Kraken would have come in 4, 5. Man, and that would have been absolutely nasty. Now we can actually efficiently deal with this Cultist. So, of course, everybody is ready here. Now, I don't know. If I wreck, I've got Hugin and Munin, which is actually pretty strong. I also have Gambit, and I do have my Hammer Throw. So we've got a lot of options here, a lot of good options. Now, Hugin and Munin does mean I get another minion in play when I already have 2 minions in play, and I'm going to need to deal with them and have the resources afterwards. Now, if I wreck, flip up, take a hit, I'll draw 2 more cards. And then I can attack with Hugin to deal with the Cultist. Lady Sif can actually deal with the Embassy Guard, and if she readies again, she can deal with them again. But we also have God of Thunder here. So I'd like to do something like, maybe Specialized Training and Lightning Strike to get God of Thunder into play. And then from there, what do we want to do? I'd love to have Gambit in play, especially if he were to hit like a triple here. Could he hit a triple? Yeah, he's got a real shot at hitting a triple. I'd love to get him into play. And then if I do get him into play and he gets a double, that gets rid of Cultist and Embassy Guard. That gives us 3 counters. But, well, I can't do that because then Batroc would put a 4th counter. So we'd be in a pretty bad spot. But I could spend 3 for Gambit. Could also just leave the Embassy Guard up. Hugin and Munin is probably the better play, and we probably just get a Draugr or something to that effect. But then we only get to ready 1 character, but that's really not that big of a deal. Because we would just ready ourselves, of course. Yeah, I think ultimately we actually do go for Hugin and Munin here. So we can discard Specialized Training and Lightning Strike to go ahead and play God of Thunder. And we'll go ahead and put a ready token on that. And then we'll go ahead and exhaust to wreck for 4 here. To go up to 12. We flip up. We attack with Lady Sif against the Cultist. Sorry, not against the Cultist, against the Embassy Guard. And then we will go ahead and now spend God of Thunder and Hammer Throw to play Hugin and Munin. So we'll search the top 10 here. Draugr. No Place for the Living, security cameras, advance, assault 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we got an Embassy Patrol. We've also got a Draugr. I think we just go ahead and put the Draugr into play here. We'll go ahead and shuffle these up with the main deck. That's got a single boost icon, so we're just going to ready 1 character. That's going to be us, of course. And because it has engaged us as Quick Strike, and we'll draw 2 cards. So first we'll resolve the Quick Strike. We'll go ahead and take 1 damage here. Then we'll resolve the response. We'll draw 2 cards. Ooh, we did get an Infiltration. And then Hugin and Munin, we'll get to ready 1 character, which of course will be us. Then we'll go ahead and exhaust Hugin and Munin to attack Cultist to deal 1 damage. Then I'll go ahead and exhaust to attack it for 3 to go ahead and defeat the Cultist. Okay, we're just going to place one threat on the alert level. I'm going to go ahead and discard the chance encounter to remove that threat. And I don't really want to risk these two at this time. So I could take 3 and go down to 8. Batroc probably puts me down to 4. But the threat level is really good here, so we could just go ahead and lose Hugin and Munin, honestly, and then just focus on trying to get Gambit into play next round, which I think is I think that's a solid play. So let's go ahead and draw back up. I'm going to hold these 2 cards. We're going to go 3, 4, and 5. Gambit, Infiltration, upside the head, and Lightning Strike. Very nice. And we'll go ahead and unexhaust all these characters. Okay. And then the main scheme is going to go to 5 here. Batroc is going to attack. I'm going to exhaust Hugin and Munin to block it. And so he's coming in for 2. That will defeat Hugin and Munin. This is going to place 1 threat on the alert level, followed by another threat from the activation. We're going to go ahead and take 3 here. We're going to go down to 8. We're going to get a bad card, which is going to be Security Cameras. For each character you control, choose to either exhaust a character or place 1 threat on the alert level. So, unfortunately, we do have to exhaust Lady Sif. Go ahead and place 1 threat on the alert level. And then it will be over to us. So, what I'd like to do here is to go ahead and start off with 2 plus God of Thunder, which should have been readied, to go ahead and play Gambit. We're going to put Gambit into play. We're going to look at the top 3 cards of the encounter deck. So Fallen Warrior, Advance, and Bandolier of Stakes. So it's going to be Fallen Warrior. So he's going to have 2 boosts. So he's got 2 over here. So we're going to go ahead and give him a, I think I've got one here somewhere. Should. There we go. He's got a +2. And then that's a look. So these 2 go on top. I was going to infiltrate. Actually, I probably should have infiltrated first, in all honesty. But I would have to pay 1 for infiltrate. It would bring in a minion. I'd draw 2 cards. If I didn't draw 2 cards, though, I couldn't attack anything. So we'll just go ahead and spend 2 here. Take 2 off of the alert level. And then I am going to go ahead and... let's go ahead and use my attack to take out this Draugr, which will bring the alert level up to 2. I don't know that we're going to get any more cameras. So I think we're fine there. And then I will, so we know that, we know we're not getting a camera. We know we're getting this Bandolier of Stakes, which we can spend a resource to claim, or it will surge. We don't really need to claim it though, because the vampire is already out. So I think we just exhaust Gambit, and he'll take 1 consequential damage, and we'll just thwart 2 off the main scheme here. And we'll go to 3. And then we just go ahead and ready up. Nice. And so I will draw 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. We've got a grapple, disguise, skill investigator, one way or another, and 4 Asgard. So the only problem that we have here is if that Bandolier surges into Kraken. That would be really, really bad. But I think otherwise we're good. So we're going to put 1 on the main. And then Batroc is going to attack. So Batroc will attack for 2 plus 0. So we'll take 2 damage. We'll take another 2 damage. And then the stakes will come into play. We'll go ahead and let this be discarded. Oop. And then we will surge into Embassy Patrol. So Embassy Patrol comes in. You're going to quick strike me for 1. I'll take 1 here, and I will draw 2 cards, which will be Hammer Throw and Genius. Okay. So now we got a couple things that we can do. I do have Gambit and Sif. So actually going for like a one way or another could be really good here. Could allow us to draw 3 cards. We could actually remove that scheme. So I think we actually go ahead and do that. Now, to be fair though, is there actually a side scheme that is worth grabbing? So the best side scheme is going to be this Commandeer Security Office. The other one is Legions of Hell. So if we go for Legions of Hell, this does say if there's no undead minions in play, this card gains Surge. So I don't know that we actually do want to go for the one way or another. I think we just use our resources here to the best of our ability. Also, Batroc did attack, so there should be one threat on the alert level. That's why I was saying Kraken would be bad, because Kraken would actually take out Embassy Guard, and then we would push that to 4. So let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and use our disguise. Actually, might even want to keep that. Let's go ahead and pitch one way or another to remove one threat off the alert level. And let's pitch a 4 Asgard to remove one more threat off the alert level. Let's go ahead and I'm at 3. So I would love to make sure that we actually survive this next turn. Let's go ahead and use God of Thunder to take one more off the alert level. Let's go ahead and... Do I just use this as another setup turn? Honestly, I might need to. Just flip down. Go ahead and wreck. Let him scheme. Grapple him so we don't have to worry about that. It feels kind of lame, but it honestly might be the best thing to do here. We have a pretty strong hand. I hate delaying the game like this, but I think that's what we need to do. We make sure that this guy is fine, but we make sure this guy gets taken care of. So we grapple, deal 1 damage to an enemy and stun it. So he'll prevent that damage, but he will get stunned. And we'll also get stunned. We draw a card. Okay. We got defenders. I don't want to do that right now. So then we're going to go ahead and we'll flip down and wreck to go up by 4. 7. I will then... Oh, sorry, I can't flip down yet because I still need my hero actions. But we'll exhaust and exhaust to take out Embassy Patrol, which will put 2 threats on the alert level. And then we will spend the Defender of the 9 Realms and the Skilled Investigator to take those 2 off. And... Well, it would be cool to hold the disguise, but actually, I think maybe we do hold the disguise. We've got the Genius is pretty good here, but the Hammer Throw is also very good because it would allow us to take out Batroc. If we go in for 8, he prevents 2, he takes 6, he goes down to 1. These would both be exhausted. So actually, this is kind of not great. I might need to... Would I need to attack and then wreck next turn? Or... Resources wise, I Hammer Throw into Batroc, Hammer Throw through, so I could spend 3 to Hammer Throw through Batroc. Ooh, yeah. This is coming together now. Okay. So we hold the Skilled Investigator to leave 1 threat on the alert level. Before we grapple, we Hammer Throw through, so this is going to be using the Skilled Investigator and Genius to Hammer Throw through that guy with Patrol, leaving these both unexhausted. That will deal 8. That will deal 3 damage and then 5, preventing 2 of it. So he'll take 3. So he goes down by 3. Okay. And then that's going to exhaust and return Mjolnir, which means we're no longer at a 1. Okay. I spend 1 resource to bring the alert level down by 1. Okay. And I'm holding these 2 cards in hand now. I flip down. I stun both of us. I flip down. I wreck. I pitch Mjolnir for disguise. Okay. Then I thwart for 2. Take 1 consequential damage. Attack for 2. To bring this up to 3. But she doesn't take consequential. And then we pass a turn, because this shouldn't be able to go up while we're in Alter Ego. He would need to scheme big here. He's only going to have 1 encounter card, so he can only scheme twice. He would need to hit big. He can't. I think we are good. He would need, it's going to go up to 3, 4, 5. So he would need to hit a 3 and a 2. So it's very, very difficult that he hits both of those. We'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we're in a really good position here. Okay, so we've got Squared Off, Thor's Helmet, Hammer Throw, Strength, Creative Solution, and Defender of the Nine Realms. Amazing, amazing hand. I think this is where we actually start turning it around. So he either wins now or we turn this around. So we're going to ready everybody up. Okay, we're going to place 1 threat on the main. Bedrock is in scheme for 1 plus 2. So he's in scheme for 3 here. So we're going to go up to 6. I don't even know if he has another advance in the deck. No, he doesn't. There's already 1 there. So we pull the next bad card, which is Legions of Hell. There's currently no undead minion in play, so this will come in at 2 with a crisis. And this surges into security cameras to remove 1 threat from the alert level. Nice. To surge into caught off guard. Discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains surge. So we'll just discard that disguise. That's fine. Nice. Okay. Yeah, we are in a really, really good spot here. So we are going to go ahead and use our action to get back Mjolnir in the hand. We've got Mjolnir in hand. Then we are going to go ahead and use Strength to get our Thor's Helmet into play, which is going to increase our hit points by 5. So we're going up to 12 now. Beautiful. We are going to use our Squared Off to go ahead and get Mjolnir into play. So we get our +1 attack back. Then we are going to flip up and we are going to use Creative Solution to draw a card, which is going to be the Raft. Nice. To remove a status card from a character, it's the stun from us, which means we can remove 3 threat from a scheme. So we'll remove 3 from Legions of Hell. So that one goes away. It's defeated. And then we are going to go ahead and use, I almost want to use Lady Sif, but if we do draw Kraken, then Kraken would defeat both of them, which could be really, really bad. I've not seen Kraken yet. So, with that all being said, I think we go ahead now and attack with Thor for 3. 2 of it gets prevented, so he'll take 1. And he'll go down by 1. Then we go ahead. Got 2 resources here. I've actually got 3 resources if I hammer throw them. And we can just hold. The alert level stays at 2. It goes up to 3. If we draw a Kraken, then we're still fine. Okay. No, he's stunned, so it won't go up at all. Okay. Actually, so that being the case. Yeah. Okay, so then that being the case, now that we've attacked, we go ahead and we Defender, Raft, God of Thunder to hammer throw, exhaust Mjolnir. So actually this should be before we attack. So we're, it doesn't matter either way because we'd lose Mjolnir, so it'd just be prevented anyway. So we go ahead and attack. We're going to go ahead and hit him for 8. So he'll prevent 2 of that, which will discard this card. So he's taking 6. So 6 damage puts him to 0, which is then going to bring him back up to 8. 8, which then takes 6 off the main, which then progresses it. So now that it's 6 off, we're going to go ahead and get our first rescued captive, which comes into play exhausted. We're going to go ahead and return Mjolnir to hand, which we did. Hammer throw goes away. This comes in at 1 and 2. Nice. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and exhaust Gambit to take 2 off the main, which will defeat Gambit. Returning this encounter card back, putting him into the discard pile, putting these away. We're going to hold Lady Sif where she is. We'll hold Mjolnir where it is. We'll go ahead and pass the turn. So that's going to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. Ready everybody up? Yeah, we're in a really good spot now. We've got Show of Empathy, Superpower Training, Infiltration, Upside the Head, and Mjolnir. Yeah, this is really nice. I think we've got it now. So we're going to go ahead and place 1 on the main. He is stunned. And then we're going to go ahead and draw a bad card, which is going to be Assault. The villain attacks you. That's fine. So the villain's going to attack for 2 plus 1, so 3. So we'll go ahead and take 3 damage here. So we'll go down to 9. We'll place 1 threat on the alert level. Okay. So then we're going to go ahead now and let's use Superpower Training to play Infiltration. Okay. And we're going to, actually wondering if I first thwart with, because I could get 3 here. I could thwart with Lady Sif. Spend an Upside the Head. Oh, sorry. I also got a Thunder. Spend Upside the Head and Show of Empathy to take 2 off. Thwart for 2 is really nice. Go for 3. Yeah, we could start accelerating here. I'm just worried about, I think I hit the Kraken, right? I've been worried about the Kraken this entire time. Yeah. So we're definitely going to end up hitting the Kraken. But I've got 6 damage on board once I play Mjolnir. So I think we just name we just name 2 here. And we're probably going to get the Kraken, and I think that's just going to be okay. It's going to hit us for 3, we go down to 6. And everybody else, we all take it out. And then I've got 2 for the alert level. I mean, it might come out no matter what, so I think we just go for it. Let's go ahead and, or I could just let it come out naturally. I just don't use Lady Sif. This is true too. I have a really funny idea. I have a very funny idea. Okay. So I've got these 4 cards in my Superpower Training, right? So let's put a Show of Empathy side scheme into play. Yeah, I've got a really funny idea here. Let's go like this. Let's put this into play. We got 6 here. Okay. Batroc is at 8. I don't have my +1 right now. Let's Superpower for Mjolnir. Let's go ahead and discard Upside the Head to take 1 off the alert level. Let's God of Thunder to take 1 off the alert level. Let's hold this Infiltration. Okay. And we'll put this +1 back. And then let's go ahead now and use the Rescued Captive and our own thwart to take 2 off of this, which will then reset it. We'll be at 2 and 1, and we'll get another Rescued Captive, which will come into play. Exhausted. Okay. And then I am just going to go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we've got Infiltration, Quake, Manifold, God of Thunder, and Wing It. Let's go ahead and unexhaust everybody. Okay. So we're going to place 1 on the main. Batroc is going to go ahead and attack for 2 plus. We're going to take this 4. So he's going to hit me for 4. Oh, he's at 8. We're going to go down to 5. Bad card is Kraken. Knew it was going to happen. So Kraken is going to go ahead and immediately activate. We are going to go ahead and take 2 here. Then Force Response. After he activates, each other character takes 1 damage. So we'll take 1. Batroc will take 1. Each of these guys will take 1. Okay. And then I will also take 1, which I'm at 2, so we're good there. And I will get to go ahead and draw 2 cards. 1 and 2. Batroc did attack me, so the alert level should be at 2. Nice. Okay. So now with all of that being the way it is, what I am going to go ahead and do now is I can use this for 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. This is perfect. So I don't know that there's any more minions in play, but if there is, we might just have to chump an attack here, which is fine. But I am going to go ahead and play Infiltration using God of Thunder, and I'm going to name 2, because there's only 2 cards left, so I can only discard 2. So 1 and 2, and there is an Embassy Patrol in the deck. So we're going to go ahead and discard these cards. We're going to discard them, 1 and 2, which is going to end up shuffling and get us an acceleration token. And that's going to go ahead and remove 2 threat from Show of Empathy, which is going to place 2 threat on the Kraken. And I think you guys see... Oh, it's going to be non-elite minion. Okay, hold on a second. So we can remove 1 threat from a scheme for each card, discard this way. So I can't go for the Kraken, which is okay. That means that we're just going to remove 2 off of the main. And then we're going to go ahead and put 1 minion discarded this way into play. So we're going to go ahead and get Embassy Patrol into play. Okay. And we're going to put in play Engage with Us. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle the rest of these cards. That's okay. So we're just going to end up defeating the Kraken. That's going to be fine. Yeah, of course he would be elite. Of course he'd be elite. You know, I was like, oh man, this would be so funny. But no, he's got to be elite. So it's going to be fine. Gonna be just fine. Okay, so put that there. And then we can go ahead and discard this. We've got our acceleration token. We did get engaged. We took 1 damage. We went down to 2 life. We draw 2 cards here. Nice. Okay, so with that being the case, I would like to make sure that I can defeat this Kraken. So the best way to do that is I can scheme for 2 and 1 to go ahead and get Show of Empathy down. And I can go ahead, because that would put 3 on Embassy Patrol, which would allow us to take control of Embassy Patrol. Embassy Patrol thwarts for 2, so we can actually go after the main. And then myself and 1 other rescued captive, we can deal 4 to the Kraken, and Quake can get the other. So I think that's what we're going to do here. Now, if Lady Sif thwarts, though, she is going to take consequential damage and be defeated. So Kraken's got to go first. So let's go ahead and pitch 2 for Quake. So finally, she's fighting for our side. And let's exhaust Quake to deal 2 damage to the Kraken. Okay. Then we will go ahead and exhaust Rescued Captive, Brave Captive, to deal 1 more damage to this Kraken. And then we will exhaust ourselves to deal 3 damage to this Kraken, which will defeat the Kraken. At which point the Kraken will now heal all other friendly characters for 1. So healing for 1, healing for 1, healing for 1. Okay. Nice. And then we heal for 1. Okay. Then I would like to go ahead now and use Lady Sif to take 1 extra consequential to place 2 threat on the Embassy Patrol. Take 2 threat off of this main scheme, off of the Show of Empathy. That's going to be 2. And I have another 2 here. 2. Exhaust the rescued captive. Take 1 consequential. Actually, technically, I should have done that first, so that way it would be healed. And then we just have 1 threat here. But that takes 1 threat off of this, places 1 threat on Embassy Patrol, which is enough. So now, Show of Empathy goes in the victory display. The redemption comes over for Embassy Patrol, which blanks out his text box. We do have 1 extra threat on the alert level from defeating the Kraken. Okay. And then that's it counts towards our ally limit. So the nice thing is that since this blanks off his text box, he doesn't have the when defeated place 1 threat anymore. We'll use Defender of the Nine Realms, Champ's Encounter, to play another God of Thunder, which will come in readied. And we'll exhaust that to take 1 off of the alert level. And then we will play Wing It to deal 1 damage to Batroc. So he's going to go down by 1. And he will be confused. I will be confused. I will draw a card. Nice. Okay. We will then go ahead and discard Manifold for Unshakable. At this point, I don't really know if that matters, actually. Us being confused is really not that big of a deal. We will discard 2 to take 2 off the alert level. I will hold the Indefiance. I will thwart and take 1 consequential damage. I'm just going to take this threat away because we know what's going on. To thwart 2 off of the main, which is going to allow us to get another rescued captive. And he will come into play exhausted. That's a +1. I'm going to play exhausted. We are going to flip down. And now we're going to go ahead and draw 1, 2. Get an encounter card. Shuffle this up. And we do need to be an alter ego. He's confused. Only a double advance ends it for us here. So I think we're in a really, really good spot. Okay. 3, 4, 5, and 6, and this comes in at 3. Oop, comes in at 3. Now we'll go ahead and unexhaust everybody. Okay. We've got Indefiance, Infiltration, Hammer Throw, Creative Solution, Defender of the Nine Realms, and Grapple. Very, very nice. And that should be 6 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Perfect. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and go to the villain phase. So this is going to go up by 2, so it's going to go to 5. He would like to scheme against us, but he's confused. And then we get a bad card, which is going to be Assault. This card gains Surge. Cultist comes into play, but cannot activate because we're an alter ego. And then we get Legions of Hell. There's no undead minions in play, so this will come in with 2, and it will surge into Fallen Warrior. Oh, interesting, because I don't have that many allies right now. So upside the head, Genius, Defender of the Nine Realms, the Raft, or Asgard. It's either Hugin or Gambit. Manifold, of course. So Manifold comes in as a Fallen Warrior, but again, I am an alter ego, so no quick strike. Nice. That is the best that we could possibly hope for that turn. Because I think now we can go ahead and take care of everything here. So we are going to flip up. We are going to thwart for 2 off of this scheme and take 1 consequential damage. Legions of Hell will be defeated. Then we are going to spend God of Thunder for Infiltration, naming 5. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we are going to go ahead and get a Draugr into play. So then that says remove 5 threat here. So this will advance. And we'll get our last rescued captive. We'll come to play exhausted. Okay. And then the Draugr will quick strike against us. So we'll go down by 1. Oop, did I do the wrong one? I did. We'll go down to 2. We'll draw 2 cards. We drew Hammer Throw and Hugin Munin. And then this resets to 3. Okay. And then we will exhaust all 3 restive captives. They have this really cool ability that allows them to exhaust to remove 1 threat from the main scheme. Now that there's no crisis, we can actually do that. And now we'll advance it because we've got all 4 of the rescued captives. It says, when revealed, if the alert level is on its high side, deal each player 1 face down encounter card. Otherwise, remove all threat from the alert level and flip it to its high side. So now it flips to its high side, which says Batroc gets +1 scheme and +1 attack and absorbs at least 4 here. Then we lose the game. And then we'll flip this over, and it comes in at 12. So it's going to come in at 10 and 12. Okay. Now, Batroc is at 6 here, and I do have double hammer throw. So what I would like to be able to do is to get him on the first one and the next one. So that being the case, I can go ahead now and exhaust Quake to deal 2 damage to this Draugr. And then I can go ahead and spend Hugin and Munin, as well as Defender of the Nine Realms, as well as God of Thunder, to play Hammer Throw targeting this Draugr. So I will exhaust Mjolnir, and I will deal 8 damage with Overkill, which means 1 and then 7 goes through. So he's going to go down to 0, so he gets reset to 8. And then this goes down by 6. This Draugr is defeated. We put 1 on the alert level, and Mjolnir comes back to hand. Okay. Then I would like to go ahead and use In Defiance for... Oh, maybe I don't have resources here. Okay if we don't. 3. I think we do, though. Hold on a second. Let me do it this way. I actually should have used the In Defiance already. I think we're good, though. We can go ahead and grapple. So wait, I haven't pitched the In Defiance yet, sorry. Grapple to deal 1 damage to Batroc, to stun both of us, and draw a card. We drew Skilled Investigator. Then I can Creative Solution to draw a card, remove a status from a character, which would be the stunned, and take away 3 threat from a scheme. So this is going down to 2 and 1. And then, oh, sorry, the hammer throw should be away. And then now we can go ahead, we drew an infiltration. So now we can go ahead and pitch Skilled Investigator for infiltration, which will be canceled because we're confused. We will exhaust Lady Sif to take 2 off of the main. She'll be defeated by consequential. And we will exhaust ourselves to remove the last one from the main, which will complete it, and we win the game because it says if there's no more threat, we win the game. Man, that was an absolute slog. I just felt like I had to be really careful with it because it's like the alert level could pop, we lose the game. The main scheme could pop, we lose the game. There's quick striking going on, which could kill us, we'd lose the game. And I wanted to get all 4, but you know what? We got there in the end. So as far as the victory instructions go, it just tells us to count the number of rescued captives. There are 4, so we'll be able to carry that going into the next one. So I hope that you all enjoyed this one. I actually, even though it sometimes may not seem like it, I actually really like this kind of scenario. I very much enjoy the slow, methodical play that Marvel Champs can present. It just feels like there's puzzles all the time. Now, sometimes, to be fair, it's really awesome just being like Thor and just crushing everything and throwing your hammer around. And I probably played it more careful than I needed to be, but in the end, we got there. Really, really cool scenario. The cultist mojo files is really gross. So that was a very, very mean and clever combination to put together. But yeah, hopefully you all enjoyed this one. I look forward to see you all in the next one. But until then, this is Hobby Vomit. Take care.